All right, here it is, all done. A really quick little project. I think it took about maybe an hour to do it, but that includes filming. Well, let's take a closer look at everything that I keep by my side while I'm crafting, the things I want to be able to grab instantly. And I've kind of ordered them a little bit in terms of importance, keeping the most important things, my knives, right close by, because these get used constantly. And right beside those are my spare blades. For my X-Acto, I keep a huge pack of really, whoops, that sucks. I keep a huge pack of cheap blades close at hand because working with foam, it dulls them very quickly. I need a lot of them. Olfa blades, these are my most favorite blades in the whole wide world. I absolutely love them. I keep a second pack of used blades. Essentially, this is my little sharps container. Whenever I'm done with an Olfa blade or an X-Acto, I throw it in here because if you just toss them in your garbage can and then take some other garbage and crush it down and push it down, it's a great way to get a very, very horrible cut on your hand. Keep them in a sharps container, especially if you have little ones running around and your garbage container is on the floor. I also do keep a pack of these traditional razor blades. I don't use these very often, but they're really, really handy when I want to scrape something flush. The thing I use them the most for is actually cleaning off my cutting mat and cleaning off any drips of super glue on the mat to keep it nice and flat. My snips, and I keep two pairs of these, one that is in nice shape and sharp that I actually use on models, and one that's really rough that I've done things with it I shouldn't have. I use this one to snip like bits of wire or pins and things that are, this is not meant for. I do also keep a pair of needle nose pliers here, which I mostly use for the side cutter feature, but having the point is sometimes handy. Some tweezers, of course, for doing little delicate things like grass tufts. Nail scissors. These are indispensable. These are great for cutting things that the large scissors are not practical for. I highly recommend these. These are in my essential equipment page for a reason. And I just own a really cheap set of sculpting tools. I think it was like $5 for the whole pack, and they serve me just fine, although I'm using them more and more and more and more, and I am considering buying something a little bit better because I found some of them do start to spin within the wood housing. They're not the greatest, but hey, they're $5 friggin' bucks. Use them all the time. Tinfoil ball for when I want to texture foam, keep one of those on hand. And then here I have my razor saw. This is a super handy saw for when you want to flush cut things like cutting the base off a miniature, especially metal ones, and all these different files. I like this file because it contains all the different types of files within it, nice and handy. This is good for cleaning up mold lines on miniatures, especially dense like resin ones or metal ones. Hand drill, my pin vise. This is good for drilling tiny little holes that, it's too unruly to use like a rotary tool, a powered one. Some extra bits, safety glasses for when I need them. I find screwdrivers are not used very often in the hobby, and most of these type of tools stay in the basement, but I do keep one really small flathead and Phillips bit just for things like taking apart small electronics or toys. This little section here is dedicated to airbrushing. I have my little beads that I use as agitators in my paint bottles. I have these little tattoo ink dropper cups for when I actually want to do the right thing and mix my ink outside of the pot, but I rarely do that. But I have them, and hopefully I'll start using them. And then I have all my tools here for cleaning my airbrush. Since I switched to this Iwata airbrush, I've found it to be a breeze to use and clean. It rarely clogs on me. The only time it clogs is when I try to use craft paint. No matter what I do, it usually ends up, not working out, but I keep trying. So that's why I keep these cleaning tools on hand. Plus, after a big project, I do like to break down the machine and clean it really, really well. Here I have a collection of all these nail files. These are absolutely indispensable for sanding miniatures or sanding the edges of foam, breaking the edges, making them round. These are fantastic. Everybody should have these. You can buy a huge pack at the dollar store for like $1. It'll be enough to last you for years and years and years. Writing instruments, markers, pencils, that sort of thing, need a spot for those. Then again, right beside me, close by, I like to keep a container of toothpicks because these are really handy when building. They can be used as element in the build or just to hold things together. This little container of pins, and this was actually the main motivator for organizing all this because I had that huge mess and this thing of pins dumped out and mixed, and it was awful, and every time I tried to move stuff around I was getting stabbed and couldn't find pins. So now they're back in a clean spot. I also put a big magnet in here so that they don't just fall out, which, you know, I should have done that a long time ago. I keep an old gift card. This is an old Dollarama gift card. It's a nice little bit of plastic. It's great for scraping things or pulling things flush on a mold. Really handy, something you might not think about, but if you have these, don't throw them in the garbage. They're useful. Then a bunch of Q-tips. These are, again, handy for all sorts of things, cleaning the airbrush, wiping away excess paint, you know, like tons of stuff. It's good to have them on hand. Wire brush here, the All-Star textures, all the foam to look like wood grain. Larger scissors, and these that I just picked up, they're a couple bucks on Amazon. They're scallop scissors, and I want to try using them out for roof tiles. I think they'll be great for that. Then a big bin of hot glue so I can just quickly grab and refill the glue gun. And then this area here is kind of the random other stuff that I didn't want to dedicate areas to, so I just kind of left it as a big shared space, like my UV flashlight for my resin, tools here for layout, triangles and compass and whatnot, little magnets for if I want to do magnets on miniatures, some tape, and a little clamp here which I bought. I thought this would be really handy, but I don't actually use it too often, but when I do, it's nice to have it.